All rise. Support Corporate Judge Van der B is now in session. Justice case number JVB1086, Easley case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all may be seated. Okay, Miss Easley, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
So I met Nicole about 9 months ago. She normally comes into town when she is here on a traveling assignment, and the lady next door rents out her home to travel nurses. And so over time, we, kind of clicked and we started hanging out. Her children would come over and play with mine, and we just, became really good friends. And so this particular time, she had another assignment somewhere else, and her current nanny wasn't available. And so I offered to keep the kids. I had just finished special agent school and I had some downtime. So she was like, well, it'll be about 6 weeks, but I probably just need you for the 2 weeks and my other nanny will come and get the kids. And I said, okay, cool. I told her, price. We kind of made the arrangements. And then over time, after the first week, I didn't hear from her. She didn't.
Wait a minute. So after a week of you having her children, she didn't call you. She didn't check on them. No FaceTime.
I couldn't get her on the phone. I would call. I would send her a text. The kids would even call. I think that the 10-year-old has a phone. He even tried to call. She just wasn't available.
Buckle up, guys. This opens a favor that spiraled into chaos. Easily met Nicole, a travel nurse, and agreed to care for her kids while she was away for a short assignment. What started as 2 weeks quickly turned into radio silence. Nicole vanished after 1 week. No calls, no texts, and no payment. Even the 10-year-old's phone calls went unanswered. The judge is already suspicious, but Easley is composed, recounting every missed check-in. We're watching the early signs of neglect unfold. And you can tell this case is about to expose much more than unpaid babysitting.
And their ages are 10 and
7.
10 and 7. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Boy and girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the first week, I was like, okay, well, maybe she's just busy. I know nurses, they work 12-hour days. Cool. The second week came around, I didn't get the next payment. The next payment would have been through Venmo. She didn't send me no money. She didn't send the payment. I still couldn't get her on the phone. So, at the time, my fiance had just got back in town, probably a couple days after she had left. And I kind of was telling him about what was going on. And he, was like, well, just give her some time and, just, to me, nonchalant about it in a way. And so he ended up having to go back out of town for an emergency work trip. And so I remember when he left, that next week when I couldn't get on the phone again, I happened to just call him and I couldn't get him on the phone. And I was just like, okay, something isn't right. Mm-hmm. My detectors went off. And
Mine
I was
are
like,
too.
okay. So, so I ended up pulling his location and I realized they were in the same state.
Oh.
I said, well, that's a coincidence. He travels a lot,
He travels a lot.
He travels a lot.
She travels a lot.
She's a travel nurse. She should only be at the hospital. She shouldn't be anywhere else.
All right, guys. Now we hit the betrayal twist. When Nicole disappeared, she easily reached out to her fiancé, only to find he went dark too. Something didn't feel right. So she tracked his location, and what do you know? He's in the same state as Nicole. Suspicious becomes obvious. When she finally gets him on FaceTime, she hears Nicole in the background. He lies, fumbles, and claims he's headed into a meeting. The judge leans in, and so do we. This is no longer about who's watching the kids. It's about who is watching whom. And this triangle just snapped into focus.
But they both
who's to
travel
say
a lot.
where I should be, but okay.
Well, who's to say you should wait your turn?
And so, so I end up, I remember I ended up FaceTiming him and he didn't answer, which is unusual because he would call every night. He would check in. The communication is never our issue. So once, the next day, now we're probably 2.5 weeks in. I got him on the phone that Wednesday morning and I happened to hear her in the background.
Keep going.
And so I asked, I said, where you at? He said, I'm getting ready to go into a meeting. And I said, oh, okay. I said, oh, okay. And I left it at that.
Oh, wow. I've never held my teacup this long.
So now we're going on now we're 2.5 weeks in. And so I decided to call her again. She ends up calling that probably that afternoon, and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you know, I've been working and it's just been crazy at work, and you know, I'm sorry about the kids." And so I was like, "Well, where you say you was at again?" And she told me where she was at, and I was just like, "Well, what happened to the nanny that was supposed to be coming?" And I said, "I thought I might have heard Michael in the background. Are you sure? You know, you at work?" And she kind of got an attitude and got real defensive. And I said, "I'm at work, and you know, you offered to do the kids, and I'll get you your money." And just
the audacity!
Yeah.
You're keeping her kids,
all of that,
and you have kids of your own.
Kids of my own.
Wow.
So I have, and they're older, so I don't, have that problem.
Here comes the unraveling. Ms. easily calls Nickel out, and her excuses are weak. She blames work, dodges questions, and gets defensive when asked about the nanny and the fiancé. Meanwhile, weeks passed, and still no money, no pickup, no help. The judge listens as she easily reveals how her good deed turned into unpaid labor. The courtroom isn't hearing a co-parenting miscommunication. It's hearing a calculated avoidance. Every word Nicole didn't say during those weeks now weighs heavy in silence. You can feel the court inching closer to accountability with every beat.
So for her to do that, I was like, okay. So then now we're on the third week. No, nanny didn't show up. I still haven't received payment. And I sent her a text. I was like, "Look, you need to make an arrangement for your children. I did this out of the kindness of my heart. You know, you got to figure out something." Didn't get a response back. So I ended up getting my fiance back on the phone, and we ended up getting into it. And I said, I asked him the same thing. "Where you say you was at again?" And I said, "Well, I talked to Nicole. She said you was with her." I played the reverse psychology thing.
Right.
And he said, "Huh?" "Uh-huh." And I said, "Nicole said you was with her. You on a work trip? Did you invite her?" And so for him, he was like, "Well, no, man, she popped up on me." And so he didn't know that I really never spoke to her.
Wait a minute. So he went on a secret rendezvous trip with Nicole here.
They both left.
Didn't. Excuse me.
I don't even know if
I was speaking. Hold on one second. I was speaking to her. I'll get to you in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so I don't even know if she really was at work. At this point now, me and him into it, I'm about ready to go drop her kids and my kids off somewhere and get in my car and get on the road. So at this point...
You didn't do that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. You kind of hesitated.
Changed woman. Yeah, I'm a changed
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's about damage, and not just emotional. Easily details how Nicole's kids destroyed her home. Broken cabinets, a busted faucet, a clogged toilet, and walls scribbled with markers. 3 months of unpaid chaos. But even with all that, he easily never threw the kids out. She stayed composed, responsible, and focused on their well-being. The judge pauses, stunned by the kindness and restraint. This moment hits hard. It's not just about payment. It's about principle. While Nicole vanished and easily stepped into the role of full-time parent without ever being asked to.
Special agent now, so I have to always think about the things that I do before I do them.
Absolutely.
Right. So, so that's kind of what happened. And so I'm bringing her here today for non-payment and for the damages that her children caused in my home during their stay.
Okay, so are her children still with you?
They are. She has not came. I can't get in touch with family.
So wait a minute. You have been raising her children all of this time?
All of this time?
No.
Wow. Is there anything else you want me to know? Because Chatterbox over here, she keeps interrupting. So I guess she has a lot she wants to say.
No, just besides, I really just want her to get the kids or find a family, find somebody to come get them. I'm not going to put the children out on the street. That's just not me. But, she needs to come get her kids. The damages, they damaged my garage door. They have just been little rugrats and just tearing up the home, markers on the walls, and damaged the cabinets, and the bathroom faucet is hanging off the faucet wall now.
What kind of kids are these?
The toilet is damaged because they would put tissue in there, and then
probably her kids.
It was just a mess. Mine is 14.
And
Okay. Is there anything else you want me to know before I move over to her?
That's it for now.
Okay. All right. Now it's your turn.
Nicole finally speaks and immediately digs herself deeper. Instead of apologizing, she attacks Easley's character, calling her controlling and nosy. Then she casually admits she was with the fiancé, and that payments were made through their joint account. The logic doesn't add up. Why would anyone pay through a joint account if they want to control the funds? The judge is already fed up. Nicole tries to make herself look like the victim, but all she's doing is confirming that she left her kids and dodged responsibility. Her defense is shaky, and her credibility is crumbling.
Hi, Judge.
Hi.
I just want to, first of all, say yes, she is a special agent, and she uses her job on a daily basis. She wants to be in everybody's business, and
I just have one question though. Was your location really where Michael was?
yes,
Oh,
it was.
So you did run off in the
So
sunset
there
with her
was no
man.
pop-up. I don't pop up on people.
Right, you just show up.
No, I was already there. Yes. When he came,
So
I was
y'all
already...
planned this.
No. I didn't plan anything.
So tell me how that came about that you all just so happened to be in the same place.
I am on my assignment, so I'm already stationed to where
Well, we
I was.
understand your
And
assignment. We do.
I don't know how he came to be in the same city as mine. I don't know how his job works, but he ended up being in the same city as mine. I have made payments to her. They have a joint account, so it's not my responsibility if he gets the money out before she notices it's there.
That doesn't make sense. Why would you be making deposits in their joint account
for keeping the kids?
No. Wouldn't it make sense for you to just give it directly to her?
Well, that was the agreement that I was to send the money through the account, not exchange of any cash.
Nicole's excuses keep spiraling. She claims she easily said it was fine to keep the kids longer, but the judge points out just because someone doesn't pry your kids out doesn't mean you get a free pass. Nicole tries to explain her assignment got extended, but it's clear she made no effort to retrieve her children. Her responses feel dismissive, like she's brushing off parenting as a casual obligation. The judge reminds her that neglect cloaked in excuses is still neglect. Nicole wanted a favor, but she dumped the responsibility. Now it's time to pay the price.
So did you tell Michael that the money you were depositing were for their kids?
Yes,
for your kids. I'm sorry.
They were both aware of what the money was going for. I'm not just going to be sending money to a guy. That makes no sense to me. But yes, I was sending her money. She volunteered to watch the kids.
She volunteered to watch them for a temporary basis.
Yes, correct.
Not weeks, not months, not to still have them.
Yes, but did she tell you that whenever I would call and tell her that my nanny wasn't available or my contract was extended, that she was like, oh, that's no problem. That's no problem.
Well, I think the only reason she said that is like she said, she didn't want to put the kids out on the street. That doesn't cue you to say, oh, well, let me just leave my children there, right?
Well, if someone's telling you that's no problem, let them stay, and I'm in a whole nother state, no, I wouldn't want my kids out on the street. But
so
if
you
she's
took that as,
telling me.
You took that as let them stay permanently?
No.
While you and Michael run off in the sunset?
No, my assignment is only 6 weeks.
Okay, but after 6 weeks, you still didn't go back and pick them up?
My assignment got extended. And when we communicated with each other, she said that was fine. It was extended 2 more weeks. I'm not going to leave my kids with someone.
This is a shift. The judge lays out the real problem. Nicole didn't just drop off her kids. She abandoned them. She easily became the only consistent adult in their lives. And now, with Nicole still on assignment, the judge makes it clear words don't erase actions. Nicole swears she's picking them up soon, but after 3 months of silence, no one believes her. The courtroom shifts from investigation to decision. Enough stalling. Enough deflecting. It's time for Nicole to be held financially accountable, not for babysitting, but for full-on child support.